Disneyland's closed ride. Disneyland is supposed to be a place of joy, of childhood dreams, but in the shadowed corners of the park, behind the bright lights and cheerful music, there are things people don't talk about, and one ride that should have never turned on again. The forgotten ride. Mark, Sarah, and Jake weren't looking for trouble. They were just having fun, 3 college friends spending a weekend at Disneyland, making memories. The park was about to close, the last rides slowing down, the crowds thinning. But Mark had heard a rumor online. "There's an abandoned ride here," he whispered. "No way," Sarah scoffed. "I swear, it was shut down in the 80s, but some people say they've seen it turn on at night." Jake rolled his eyes. "Dude, that's just an urban legend." But Mark wasn't convinced. "Let's go find it." The ride. No one talks about. They walked to a quieter part of the park, past the buzzing crowds, the fireworks in the distance. Soon, the lights weren't as bright, the music wasn't as loud, and then they found it. It was called The Enchanted Journey. A dark ride like the Haunted Mansion, small carts on a track, taking guests through a fairy tale story. But unlike the rest of Disneyland, this ride looked wrong. The sign was faded, flickering. The entrance was blocked by rusted chains. A closed for renovation sign hung lopsided, covered in dust. "We shouldn't be here," Sarah whispered. "Just one look," Mark insisted. Then the neon sign flickered on. The ride had power. The chains, they were gone, and worst of all, the ride's doors slowly creaked open. Jake took a step back. "Nope, number absolutely not," but Mark was already stepping inside, and the second they did, the doors shut behind them. Inside the ride, everything was covered in dust. The air was thick, stale, like no one had been inside for decades. The ride track stretched into the darkness, winding through scenes of storybook characters. At first, it looked normal, except the animatronics weren't moving, not stuck, not frozen, just waiting. Sarah shivered. "Guys, something's not right." Then suddenly the ride started moving. They barely had time to jump into a cart before it jerked forward, pulling them deeper into the ride. The first scene flickered to life. A princess in a tower, but her eyes were too dark, her mouth stretched too wide, her head twitched. Jake gripped the safety bar. "I hate this! I hate this!" The next room, a forest, but the trees looked wrong. The bark had faces, not cartoonish, realistic, pained, like something had been trapped inside. Then the princess from the first room. She was in the background. She wasn't part of this scene. She wasn't supposed to be here, but she was watching them. Sarah gasped. How did she... Then the lights cut out. Total darkness. Then a whisper. "You shouldn't be here." Not from the speakers, from inside the ride. The security guard. The cart stopped. Ahead of them, a figure stood on the track. A security guard. At first, they felt relief. Someone was here. They could get out. But then they noticed his uniform was wrong. Old. Too old. Like it was from the 1960s. His face was shadowed under his cap, but his teeth were visible. He was grinning. Sarah whispered, "Sir, we didn't mean to," and then he stepped onto the track. And the ride started again. But backward, the cart was moving in reverse, faster, back through the rooms. But the scenes were wrong now. The animatronics were moving too smoothly. Their eyes were following them. The princess? She was running toward them. Then blackness, total silence. And a voice whispered, close to their ears, "See you soon." They never found the ride again. Mark woke up outside the park gates. His head ached. His heart was pounding. Sarah and Jake were beside him, confused, shaking. "What happened?" Sarah whispered. The park was closed, silent, empty. They ran back to where the ride had been, but it wasn't there. No sign, no entrance, nothing. Just a blank wall where it should have been. Jake pulled out his phone, his hands trembling. He had recorded everything, or so he thought. The video showed them laughing, stepping inside. The first animatronics, the first rooms, then static when the footage returned. It showed the empty ride car, but sitting inside were 3 animatronics, lifeless, grinning, wearing their clothes. The video cut out. They never spoke of it again, but sometimes at night, Mark swore he could still hear it. The ride moving, even though it was never there. That was today's story. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. It really helps, and I'd love to have you here for the next one.